The lecture today is about the Society of Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt as an example of a movement that has been highly engaged in violence inside and outside, and also put the West in a lot of combat against the followers of this movement. And let me start the the PowerPoint. Okay, so historical background. From the 18th century, with the rise of European colonialism, a set-on invasion begins on Muslim Europe empire in Egypt, North Africa, and the Middle East. So little by little, European powers started taking pieces and bits from the Ottoman Empire. And by the end of World War One, the empire collapsed and the territories were divided between Britain and France. And today we're talking about Egypt, so this was mostly British. And the British colonizers brought with them all kinds of things that identified Europe at that time, which is secularization, um, ideas of nationalism, in this industrialization, westernization, like turning Egypt to become more like, European in its culture, and also included ideas about Islam and how to modernize Islam. And the Society of Muslim Brothers was established in 1928 in Cairo by the man you see in the picture. His name was Hassan al-Banna. This was a movement that was intended to support the poor and the underprivileged. And until today, many, many people in Egypt are poor and underprivileged. And when the British colonizers came and many people moved from villages to big cities, they became even more poor and more vulnerable. And this society was intended to help them deal with the new reality of the colonization of Egypt and the industrialization of Egypt, and was a charity organization. Give them money, give them whatever they need, also give them training. But this was training for new jobs, new professions, but it was also a religious organization in which, it was centered in mosques, and it was a resistance movement. It resisted, it criticized the British culture of individualism, gender equality, men and women are equal, yes, materialism, atheism, no religion, yes. All of those things, they opposed them. And he tried to resist secularization that has kind of like started developing in Egypt at that time. And so this was all together. This was a religious organization, charity organization, political organization that was mostly anti-development, modernization. And at some point, they also became a political organization, yes. They wanted to change Egyptian politics, and they understood that in the situation of colonization, they need to have also a military branch. This is where they started the terrorism. So there was a political organization headed by politicians. There was a terrorist organization headed by, military people. And they were kind of like part of the same movement, but not the same people. These are different people for different purposes. And the concept of the Muslim Brotherhood became very popular and spread all over the Muslim world. Now, the British colonialism ended in 1948 after World War II, and the British put a puppet king to rule Egypt. His name was King Farouk. His rule lasted only a few years, and the British really wanted to have still control even after they left Egypt. They still wanted to control things from behind the scene. This is why they appointed Farouk, and the brotherhoods were outlawed, and they responded with terrorism. Al-Banna was executed. In 1952, as I said, from 1948 to 1952, this was the King Farouk period, and it ended with a military coup. It's called the Free Officers Revolution, headed by Jamal Nasser, Anwar Sadat, and Hosni Mubarak. All three of them will later became the presidents of Egypt. So Nasser is the man you see in the picture. He was the first military ruler of Egypt, and the Muslim Brothers supported him and supported the revolution because he promised them, made all kind of promises that they would be part of the government, but he didn't plan to fulfill his promises. And as a result, in 1954, they tried to assassinate him. The movement was outlawed, and the political leadership had no control over the terrorist cell. The political leadership grew inside Egyptian prisons. So yes, so the Muslim Brothers, they all went to prison. They all started terrorism. They all went to prison. They were outlawed. And the prison experience has become very important in the development of the movement. And the ideas that they articulated inside prison cells and the books that they wrote is that Muslims need to return to their authentic nature, which is Islamic. Yes, it's not modern, it's not Western, it's not Soviet, it's Muslim. Islamic past need to be an inspiration for the future. Yes, that's part of what it means to be a Muslim. Yes, you need to follow the scriptures. Now, democracy is not part of Islam. Democracy was never mentioned in Islam. And why? Because the laws of the government needs to come from God, not from us, not we the people. Yes, God. God needs to offer the laws. So true Muslims need to establish a counter society that could stand against the evil surrounding. And from the defense, an offense can rise in the concept of jihad. Jihad, a holy war against the infidels. So you create a counter society, and from it you start striking back to expand the territory and the power and the control of that Muslim enclave. This is the term, enclave. So from this kind of mindset and thinking, a few movements that are the contemporary people are familiar with, Hamas in Palestine, is a movement of the liberation of Palestine from Israeli occupation. Currently, they are the leaders of Gaza. Well, it's still under war. But yes, so Hamas is one example of such a movement. Al-Qaeda, attacks on America, 9/11. It's coming up from the same mindset. And the spin-off of ISIS, from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Islamic Caliphate in Syria and Iraq, that governed those territories from 2014 to 2017. These are all coming from the same mindset of we need to establish an Islamic state, Islamic empire. The only way to do it is through violence, through military fight against the infidels. The infidels can be America, Israel, or can be their own governments, like Egypt, as an example. And this is the end of this lecture.